There's a company that owns a piece of your home. Your phone. The apps you use every day. The food in your fridge. And the bank that holds your money. You've never heard their name in the news. They've never had a scandal. No one protests outside their headquarters. But they control over $10 trillion in assets. That's more than the entire economy of every country on Earth except the United States and China. By the end of this video, you'll know the truth about the financial empire that influences your life without you ever noticing. Most people think money is controlled by banks. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, the Federal Reserve. But there's a layer above that. A quiet empire that doesn't make headlines. It doesn't need to. Because it owns the banks. It owns the corporations. It owns the real estate. And in many cases, it owns the very shares that give it a vote in how the world's biggest companies are run. This is the world of shadow finance. And the biggest player. A company called BlackRock. You won't see their logo on billboards. They don't sell anything to you directly. But if you've ever invested in a retirement fund, bought a home, or simply lived in a modern economy, you've fed the machine. BlackRock doesn't just manage money. It shapes it, moves it, controls it. And they do it all with a smile and a spreadsheet. Let's put this in perspective. BlackRock manages over $10 trillion in assets. That's more than the GDP of Japan, Germany, and the United Kingdom combined. If BlackRock were a country, it would be the third largest economy in the world. But here's the twist, most of that money isn't even theirs. It belongs to pension funds, retirement accounts, institutional investors, and everyday people like you. BlackRock just manages it, but in doing so, they wield unimaginable power. Here's how. When you invest in an index fund, say, an S&P 500 fund, you're buying a tiny slice of 500 companies. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta. Now imagine millions of people doing the same thing. All that money gets pooled together and managed by firms like BlackRock. And because BlackRock manages so much of it, they become one of the largest shareholders in almost every major company on the planet. Let me say that again, BlackRock is one of the top shareholders in Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Tesla, Coca-Cola, Morgan, ExxonMobil, the list goes on. They own enough shares to vote on corporate decisions, board appointments, executive pay, mergers, climate policies. They don't run these companies, but they have a voice loud enough to steer them. And when you own a piece of everything, you don't just follow the market. You are the market. So what does that power actually look like? Let's start with corporate influence. In 2021, BlackRock voted in favor of climate-related proposals at ExxonMobil and Chevron, oil giants. The result, new board members, policy shifts. A multi-billion-dollar company pivoting because a fund manager asked them to. That's not activism. That's ownership. But it doesn't stop at corporate boardrooms. BlackRock has deep ties to governments. After the 2008 financial crisis, the US government hired BlackRock to help manage the cleanup of toxic assets. They were brought in again during the COVID-19 pandemic to oversee parts of the Federal Reserve's corporate bond buying program. Think about that. A private company helping the central bank decide which corporations get financial support during a crisis. There's no scandal. No villain in a suit twirling a mustache. Just passive index funds and shareholder votes. But that's exactly what makes them so powerful. They've mastered something most people don't understand. Ownership is the ultimate leverage. You don't need to start the company. You don't need to run it. You just need to own enough of it to influence the direction. And BlackRock, along with firms like Vanguard and State Street, owns a slice of nearly everything. Here's the thing, they're not technically doing anything wrong. They're playing by the rules. They're just playing at a level most people can't see. It's not a conspiracy. It's just capital. And capital, when concentrated enough, becomes gravity. It pulls everything toward it. That's the real power move. Not control through force, but control through ownership. Quiet, legal, inevitable. So why should you care? Because understanding this changes everything. It changes how you see the stock market. It's not just a place where prices go up and down. It's a battlefield of ownership, and the biggest players aren't trying to beat the market, they're trying to own it. It changes how you see wealth. Real wealth isn't about how much money you make. It's about how much you control. The truly powerful don't work for money. They make money work for them. And it changes how you see your own financial future. If you want to build real wealth, you need to think like BlackRock, not in scale but in strategy. Own assets. Build leverage. Let your money create influence, income, and freedom while you sleep. The system isn't hidden. It's just invisible to those who don't know where to look. But now you do. You've just seen behind the curtain of modern finance. You've learned how a single company can manage more wealth than most countries, how ownership creates power, and how the game is played at the highest level. This is the world the rich operate in, quiet, calculated, ruthlessly efficient. And now you know the rules. If you want to learn more about how real wealth and power actually work, how the ultra-rich think, move, and win, subscribe to the Alpha Fortune. Because the truth isn't taught in schools. It's earned by those who seek it.